All right. I think I'm live here. And this is a test. If you're here, welcome. I'm trying to figure out a lot of the kinks, things I didn't have to consider before with Twitch, now that I'm streaming on YouTube here. So let's check this out. There it is. And Arnav, there we go. Arnav711. What's up, man? So yeah, there's so many things with this that I didn't realize that I had to set up. Like I had to come up with a thumbnail before I even went live with this, because it's a YouTube video. I wasn't really thinking that I needed the thumbnail yet. So when I set up my YouTube account, a lot of my presets for Twitch didn't carry over because I don't have like the Prime version of Streamlabs. So I'm like kind of bare bones right now. I couldn't even put people in my chat if I wanted to, so I can't really do any of that tonight. But I'm mostly ready to talk NFC East. I want to talk some. I want to do a little bit of film stuff. I'm gonna pull some of that stuff up along the way. So what's up, man? Hope you're having a good night. Appreciate you stopping in as usual. So this is, I'm going to be playing around also with between Thursday nights and maybe Thursday afternoons, like sort of like my lunch break kind of thing with work. Throw it in like around 1 o'clock Eastern time. So I'm gonna give that a shot. But yeah, I also I don't even have like my going live soon photo, so I just kind of had to like hit live and work some of the things out. So I think they stay up. So I could cut them up. I think what I might end up doing is cutting up some of this and turning it into some like Instagram videos and things like that. So I may do some of that, but yeah, I think they stay up. I could take them down. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't thought about it too much. I assumed I would just. How much stream delay is there? That I don't know. So I guess that was the test. I just saw your question as it came up, so I don't know how quickly that came up, but or how quickly I responded. I don't know how it compares to Twitch. I'm working all that out myself right now. So and it is pouring here. I don't know if you can hear the raindrops in the background or anything like that. So actually, one other thing I just realized with my mic, yeah, I'm on default. Yeah, so there's my better mic. I don't know if that sounds any better, but that's my actual mic. I think it was using my built-in. I don't know if it was actually or not, but so yeah, ready to talk NFC East. I will say again, I don't want to like shortchange this, so I didn't quite get as into Washington as I wanted to. So I'm gonna hold off on Washington until my next stream. So you just saw it. So so it seems like there is a decent delay. I don't know because I said that a good amount of time ago. So so one more thing I wanted to do before I this is really just almost like a beta version, I think, of this whole YouTube thing. So I might not even leave this one up because I'm working a lot of things out here. I'll have hopefully a lot of my presets back up and running again very soon. But pouring where you are too, yeah. So so all right, so yeah, a little different than what I've done in the past. This is just going to be football talk. I don't think we're going to get into any games. I might have some time after some streams throughout the summer where maybe I will get into some of the gaming stuff if I have time, but I'm actually going away for the weekend starting tomorrow, so I have to like do some packing and stuff tonight. So but I did still want to get this in. I threw around the idea of just not even doing this like a couple different times. I was just like, you know what, I'm not quite ready. I'm working out the kinks. I'm a lot of different things here, but yeah, I threw it out there to people in the Fantasy the Show Discord too. I was talking about it a little bit last week too. I was on live with Jared on the Friday before Memorial Day. So yeah, I was talking that up a little bit, and yeah, I mean that's kind of the goal. Again, I'm going to be you're heading to Florida at the end of June. That's awesome. So yeah, my bigger thing I'm doing is like Charlotte and Outer Banks in mid-July, but I'm going to start spreading around to more people I know the Instagram. I'm going to be getting that going, and I'm going to promote a lot more through that. So I'll hopefully like a friend will tell a friend and that kind of stuff. Whereas I haven't really done that too much with my Twitch, to be honest. But you know, the football stuff I think is going to be more interesting to a lot more people that I'm friends with and stuff like that. So yeah, and like I said, I'm going to have an Instagram that's just going to be focused on the sports stuff. It's Mr. Zach T Sports is where you should be able to find it, but it's not. Never been to Outer Banks actually, so so yeah, that's still haven't really been using it, but yeah, that was another thing. Like the more I got like close to today, like you'll see here's like just a quick like preview. So I have my my projections for a lot of the main people in with between Dallas, New York, and Philly. And again, I didn't quite get to Washington, so I almost didn't even do this. But I'll get into all this in a bit. You know, I'm not going to be talking rankings. This is more just a big picture. You know, as we're getting into the summer, as we're thinking about like starting to think about projection or rankings and stuff like that, think about who I might be interested in drafting, talking that stuff. I can maybe, if you have any questions about like who were you know, who I might prefer, I reserve the right to change my mind for sure. But yeah, I'm very early in the process, but I'm able to talk pretty much most of NFC East again. I unfortunately I probably can't do a whole lot on Washington, but I'm even going to throw in some film stuff for Dallas, New York, and Philly. So I've got Ezekiel Elliott for Dallas. I'm going to show you. I actually went into Evan Ingram, which I'm kind of regretting because I don't know that he's going to be as interesting as I thought. But I felt like he really dropped off last year, and I wanted to get a better sense of what happened there with him. I also wanted to look at Kenny Galladay and just basically show all the touchdowns from Kenny Galladay and show how awesome he is, because I think he's a great player and I'm a big fan of his. But I didn't go that route. And then I also have some Jalen Hurts stuff. So Noah, what's up, man? That is Noah FTS 11. What's up, man? We're doing some NFC East talk, so appreciate you stopping in. So again, this is mainly just going to be football talk tonight. It's like a big picture view. I'm not really getting into like rankings quite yet, but I'm playing around with doing this on YouTube, hopefully reaching some different people. So maybe just do like some of my sports talk only stuff on YouTube, and then maybe just the gaming stuff that has sports talk in it on Twitch. So I hope you're having a good night, Noah. How you feeling about this? What's the latest you're hearing on Julio, your boy Julio there? I saw you post something not too long ago that said they wouldn't be surprised if he was traded today, and it doesn't look like anything's happening today. So again, we'll get into the NFC South on a different week, but that's gonna be really interesting. I know Titans have been thrown out as like a big. I think I've seen a lot at San Francisco too, but Titans could definitely use another wide receiver. Otherwise, I think Josh Reynolds is actually in line for a really, really big year. I mean, A.J. Brown and Julio are like really similar styles, so you think maybe not like the 100% best fit, but hey, Julio might not be what he was 4 years ago. We'll see if he drops off, but I mean, adding Julio to that team will be huge. And Titans Seahawks is another one. I did see that. That's really interesting too. I wonder how that would work out. I think that would really hurt Metcalf. As far as like where some of those guys are going, I do have some of my. I did pull up some rankings like for Fantasy Pros, which is like a site that does consensus stuff. I was talking about this last show, I think on Tuesday. They have A.J. Brown third, Stephon Diggs fourth. I don't know how much of that is just certain people just making a statement early in the summer, but and I've seen Metcalf at fifth, and so obviously if Julio I think goes to either of those teams, big boost to the quarterbacks, maybe not to those wide receivers. ESPN has A.J. Brown fifth and DK sixth. I haven't really got into that yet, but we'll see. So Theo, what is up, man? Ring this bell is right. I appreciate you stopping in. And I was talking earlier. My stuff with Streamlabs really didn't carry over, so I'm pretty bare bones in what I'm set up for here. But hopefully, I'll be a little bit more prepared next Thursday. I'm between doing these on Thursday nights or like Thursday afternoons. Thursday afternoon, I pretty much would have to like keep it to an hour because I work during the day. So I have a little bit more flexibility to like keep it a little later. But I do want these to sort of be quicker talks. They'll then become on the YouTube channel. So I agree. I think Julio would hurt DK a lot. So yeah, we're talking big picture NFC East kind of things. We will get into your Vikings and the NFC North, which that's a really interesting division, especially like not going to be the best division, but it's wide open if Rodgers leaves, and that it feels like it's going to be a thing. So, but Theo, appreciate you stopping in. I think all you guys are pretty much already subscribed to the YouTube, but appreciate the support as always. So let's get into it. So I'll start with Dallas first. I want to say least favorite team. I think that's fair. I think Dallas being my least favorite team from a fan perspective. I think that's fair. As an Eagles fan, I am. You can't really see it tonight, but I have my Eagles Super Bowl champions, which I am clinging on to that as much as I can. I know it's going to be 10 years from now, and I'm going to be like, yeah, well, they won in when was that? 2017 or 2018? Man, it feels like forever ago now. Yeah. But anyway, let's get into Dallas. And Dallas, I mean, Dallas is all about Dak, right? Like I put this. I'm gonna be doing this for every team and just showing like key additions and losses on the team, and like on offense, like Andy Dalton, that's like the best I could come up with for the offense there. And I did do and even additions, like they signed Keanu Neal, and I have draft picks in here too, but like Micah Parsons, Calvin Joseph, like that's like that. Those are the bigger draft picks. There wasn't really a priority pick for the offense. Like this team with that, is going to be what we thought it was heading into last season. And yeah, Arnav's asking about Dak, and that's the key. So I'll get into my projections for Dallas here. Dak, I expect to get. I put him in for 15 games. That was almost my way of like. Accounting for the injury in the projections. I don't know that he'll necessarily miss. Maybe he's not quite ready. Maybe he does miss time. I don't know how much more of an injury risk with the ankle he is, like a re-injury wise, than prior to this. Like, I haven't seen a lot of that yet, but just pulling up, I should pull up Dak's 2019 stats, because I think that's really relevant. We want to see, can Dak Prescott get back to what he was then? If he's even 2019 Dak, I think the Cowboys are in really good shape. So as you can see, hopefully you can see that pretty well. I have Dak in for 4,700 yards, about 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions in a 15-game season. The other thing that sucks with projections now, it used to be so clean to just have a 16 games. Now it's with the 17, even though you might not be playing fantasy football in that 17th week. Like, I'm still projecting out those numbers, because I'm not just going to project only those 16 weeks. I'm going to project all 17 games. So the one thing I did, which I don't know that I saw this, I was comparing a little bit to ESPN projections. So you'll see the rushing yards. I have Dak at 180 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. An underrated aspect of Dak's value, pretty much every season since he's been in the league, since he's been a starter, has been the rushing and the rushing touchdowns specifically. 2016 through 2018, 6 touchdowns rushing each of those seasons. 3 in 2019 and 3 in 2020 in that shortened season. He only played 5 games. Obviously came out during the 5th game. So I don't know how the recovery is going to be. I don't know how much he's going to run again. I could be lowballing it here, but I have him in on a 15-game pace. I have him in for 180 yards and two rushing touchdowns, which I think will hurt the upside a little bit, or maybe even the safety a little bit when it comes to rushing with Dak. So, yeah, and the other big thing, you're right, is especially once I went back and was looking at stuff with Zeke, it'll be they had a lot of injuries on the offensive line last year. It is getting older, as we all are, but they didn't really make any kind of additions there either. That was a place actually in our mock draft, as you might remember. I actually had them taking Rashawn Slater because I thought, again, offensive line that's been banged up. Tyron Smith last few years hasn't really stayed healthy. So I thought they could use a good young left tackle. We'll see what Rashawn Slater ends up being, but I thought that they could have benefited from that, and they didn't go that route. If that offensive line stays healthy, I think they could be a top 10 group again, and that'll be a key to this offense too. So looking at 2 years ago, in in 16 games, Dak had 4,900 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and I mentioned the rushing earlier. He ended up with, in that season, that's passing. 277 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the other part of this too is I would hope that people aren't just penciling in what Dak did the first 4 weeks of last season and saying, well, look, they added CeeDee Lamb. That was the first bit that he got. The defense was terrible, and he threw a lot. It should be bad again. I mentioned one of the main additions that they had was Keanu Neal. But again, they also, we'll see how quick Kelvin Joseph and Micah Parsons come on. They did lose Xavier Woods, and Alden Smith. I don't know if those are really big losses, but they're losses, regardless. So, but yeah, the ability for that offensive line to get back to where it was, I think, is really going to dictate a lot about where this goes. And then obviously Dak's health. I think I could see myself, it's early June. I could see myself, monitoring how things are going with the ankle throughout training camp. If he gets into some preseason action, if he starts running around, depending on how limited he is in the preseason, could dictate how much I end up changing these projections around. But the thing I was getting at with the defense is that they were what's up, Fantasy, the show? What's up, man? We're getting into this is basically working out the kinks here. If you try it, it turns out you need a thumbnail because it's YouTube, which makes sense now that I thought about clicking on videos that I've seen that are live. You need a thumbnail before you can go live with even with a live video. So so you can maybe have a default or something like that, I guess, and maybe change it later. But it turned out I needed to create a thumbnail before I started with this. So yeah, we're starting with NFC East, starting with Cowboys. Just talking about my boy Dak. I got a decision to make between Dak, Kyler Murray, and Justin Herbert. We've talked a decent amount about that, but the defense was historically bad those first 4 games. The amount that he threw, I can't imagine over 16 game pace. Just subbed. Appreciate that. No, yeah, the other thing, Jared, I was mentioning, Streamlabs OBS. I know you're not a fan. I don't have their Prime membership that you have to pay for. So I logged in separately for my YouTube account, and all of my presets and overlays and stuff like that and sounds didn't transfer. So that has been another fun thing that I'm realizing that I need to work on all that stuff. Dak off the injury, just go Kyler and Herbie. Yeah, I know. I'm leaning that way. I think preseason reports and all that is really going to dictate a lot for me. Ander, what's up, man? Appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, we're talking Cowboys right now. We're talking NFC East tonight. So appreciate you stopping in. If you got any questions, we'll see. So yeah, and we might actually have some preseason games. I don't know if they'll actually put him out there in preseason, but it'll be nice just to see how limited he might be. But yeah, that defense was historically bad through those first 4 games. They might not be good this year, but I don't know that Dak will have to throw at that insane pace that he was at last year. So I put him closer to where he was in 2019, 2020 his pace was way above that. I think he was number 1 quarterback through 4 games in fantasy. So rookie impacts on these NFC East teams. Yeah, I'm going through the teams. Really, there's not much. I had the key additions here. I'll talk about Davonte Smith, and I honestly might not even talk about Kadarius Toney all that much. I was comparing some projections. Jared, our boy Mike Clay, is projecting Kadarius Toney to be better than Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton. Really surprises me. I honestly think he's going to be more of a gadget guy his first year. Yeah, I know. Bugsy, after his baseball lack of activity, is out. So, um, yeah, I think they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be better on D. We'll see how much better, but yeah, that's kind of my thinking for Dak. I have him a lot closer to 2019 Dak, which I think, and looking at where he is ranked right now in leagues. I had Fantasy Pros up. Dak right now on Fantasy Pros is 5th, behind Kyler, Lamar Jackson, just above Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Justin Herbert is 8th. Again, I'm not really ready to talk full rankings. This is more big picture stuff. I'm just chatting right now. I'll get much more into rankings in the next month or so once I've looked more at the whole league. Tony is not better than either in yeah, I don't understand. So yeah, I see. I'm the same thing. Yeah, Tony maybe year 1, and even Laviska Shenault. I know maybe you're not saying that's what he'll put up, but oh yeah, no, we're gonna be talking for sure. Yeah, so I just year 1, Kadarius Toney. I think he's their wide receiver 4. But having said that, just looking at past history, I mean, Kenny Galladay hasn't stayed healthy. Sterling Shepard hasn't stayed healthy. Obviously, Saquon, Evan Ingram's been banged up. So he's somebody to keep an eye on, I think. But honestly, if some of those guys start going down, that offense is just probably going to stink. So that's kind of where. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about Davonte Smith when I get to the Eagles. But yeah, back to Dallas and looking at the wide receivers. I should add. So I have this. This is something, Jared. I talked to you a little bit about this. So when making my rankings, I've been getting away from doing just I used to be really, really heavy on projections, project it out, and I know Jared does this too. Project it out, get the points, sort the points. That's your rankings for the most part. I've really just tried to think about more and more about upside and safety. Safety even more important, like a scale of 1 to 10. Safety much more important towards the top of the draft. Upside towards the bottom of the draft. You're taking flyers on guys anyway. How safe they are really doesn't matter. They're pretty replaceable by that point. You want guys with high upside. You want to win your league. So you want to hit those home runs. So I give everybody a 1 to 10 scale of upside and safety. I have Dak at a 9 for upside, and safety I have right now at a 6 coming off the injury. So upside I feel like a 10 score is this guy could be the best fantasy. And I even played around with a 10 for Dak because I think, again, 4-game pace last year he was number 1. So if 10 is use the upside to be the best player at his position, I think Dak has that. But I think just coming off the injury, I just bumped him down just a tiny bit. I have Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb neck and neck because I do factor in injuries and stuff a little bit. Maybe it's unfair with CeeDee Lamb. He missed a couple games last year, so I put him on a 16-game pace. But if you look at my average PPR points, they're basically the same, Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. Average standard league points, CeeDee Lamb is just a tiny bit higher. But looking over at Gallaudet only missed last season. I don't know where this injury-prone stuff. Yeah, he missed time, I think, 2 years ago. And he having owned him, I think even when he played in a lot of those games, he was banged up. So I think that might be where that comes down to. If you're just looking at games played, that maybe doesn't tell the whole story. But let me pull up the where Fantasy Pros has both of these guys. I have I'll pull up PPR. Jared's a big PPR guy. So they have Amari Cooper 14th and CeeDee Lamb 20th. I'll probably end up meeting in the middle. I think I'll have both. And again, I have them both as a 9 upside and 9 safety. 9 out of 10. CeeDee Lamb had. I mean, I think about that touchdown. I'd love to show that if I had it up, but from Andy Dalton. Down at the goal line, behind him, he reaches back, and it was one of the best catches I saw all year. He had a lot of really, really good moments Maybe isn't the downfield threat that Amari Cooper is. You know, but I think he should. I have him in for 8 touchdowns. I have Cooper in for 7. So we'll see. I think I will have Cooper higher than Lamb, but I think just a bit. So I feel like the more and more I think about Ronnie Cooper, like he's never in the conversation anymore for I feel like maybe a couple years ago he was, but he's just not the most popular sexy pick at wide receiver. He went very quickly from being a popular hot name to all of a sudden being almost like a boring, underrated kind of guy at the wide receiver position. Because I feel like he's never in that. You're never talking about Amari Cooper when people are talking about who's the best wide receiver in the league. Amari Cooper's name doesn't really come up, and he's also not a hot young rookie or second-year player. That was against the Vikings. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, you knew which one I was talking about. So yeah. So yeah, he's not one of these hot up and coming second year players. He's in his 6th or 7th year, I think. But all he does is produce just about every year. And going back, what was it, 2 years ago, what he was able to do with Dak. I know CeeDee Lamb wasn't there, but let me pull up his stats really quickly. Yeah, 2 years ago, 1,189 yards, 8 touchdowns. And last year, with a lot of Andy Dalton, 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I don't see why and again, this is now 17 games we're talking. So I have him more than 2019 when he played the full season because, again, he's getting an extra game. So I don't see why he can't do what he did in 2019, even with CeeDee Lamb there. Looking back, there was a lot of Michael Gallup that year. There was actually a lot of Randall Cobb, too. So I think there's room for both these guys to be really good. I think they're both wide receiver 2s with upside to be wide receiver 1s. And Michael Gallup's not going to go away. I have Michael Gallup in for almost 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think he's a big play guy. He'll be better in a standard league than a PPR league. But I think he'll be usable. Again, I don't really have the rankings right now, but I can see him being a wide receiver 4, a flex player, where you got to play him on the right weeks and you're never going to guess right because that's how fantasy football works. But yeah, that's kind of where I look at Michael Gallup. Zeke, and this is where I'm going to try, again, this is working out the kinks tonight. So I got some Zeke film ready to go. I went into watching this thinking, I'm going to be down on Zeke. He looked bad last year. I don't know what to think. Was he hurt? Was it Dak being out? Was it all the carries he got in his first 4 or 5 seasons? Has it all caught up with him? Is he falling off a cliff? Because that just happens with running backs. I mean, we saw, Todd Gurley still doesn't even have a job. Not that I thought it was going to be quite that big of a fall off, but am I ready to put him back close to my top 5? So I have him in for 1,200 yards rushing, 9 rushing touchdowns, 53 catches, 386 receiving, and 2 touchdowns. Upside, I played around with 10 because would you be surprised if Zeke was the number 1 running back in fantasy? I maybe would be a little bit surprised at that, but 9 is saying he'll be in every week. Running back 1, top 5 upside. And I threw him in with 8 safety because I think in this offense and what I saw in the film, and I'll show you a little bit of this in a second. What I ended up seeing, and I'm just going to show you pieces here, but what I saw was really encouraging. So let me see if I can get this up and going. So and they're saying he would avoid Zeke unless he could snag him in round 2. So yeah, I mean, so we'll see. Again, I'm not ready to say like rankings yet. I think he's going to be a round 1 guy for me. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 guy, but I think he is going to be around. Yeah, that's another thing too. When I drafted, I know it's a 2 quarterback league, but when I drafted Dak Prescott in our 2 quarterback league last year, it felt dirty. Jared knows. Jared has kept Zeke for a long time, so Jared has certainly gotten past that himself. Pollard is an interesting factor. I haven't even gotten into projection yet for Pollard. I think I actually did. Yeah, I did end up projecting him. So, I don't know that you're starting Pollard with Zeke healthy unless they really start splitting them. I do think he's earned playing time too. Let's get into this. So, I'll try not to so what I actually ended up doing, I wanted to compare 2019 Zeke to 2020 Zeke. So what I ended up doing, rather than watching every single carry from both of those seasons, I watched his Eagles games. I watched his 2 Eagles games in 2019, his 2 Eagles games in 2020, and really what I saw with Zeke in 2020 was an offensive line that was banged up, defenses that were playing 8-9 in the box because it was Andy Dalton at quarterback, and I saw hints of Zeke looking like 2019 Zeke when he actually had an opportunity to be 2019 Zeke, or to run. Let's see here. All right, so we're gonna start. And here's one thing about Game Pass. I love Game Pass in a lot of ways, but if I click weeks, I want weeks 1 through 16. It throws week 1 down at the bottom and week 16 up top. So I can't just, but then it plays them from top down. So it'll play week 16, 15, which is really frustrating. So, here I'm gonna show you this one. 8:36 in the first quarter. So this is one that like it'll look good stat wise, but like watch Alex Singleton here. So it's a run up the middle, and it's stuffed again. Like if we're talking offensive line, like it's stuffed. But like Alex Singleton buys Andy Dalton's fake, should have had that contained, and Zeke. I'll go back really quick, but what I like about this one is Zeke has the quickness to like see there's nothing there in the middle, and quickly gets back to the outside and then just gets upfield again. So really like that play from him. So again, that's like an example of like when he actually has time and room to run. Like I did see a lot of things that were encouraging. So this was a problem too. I thought with last year's Zeke, they did a lot of this. And I think they were just trying to get creative with Andy Dalton in there. Zeke in the backfield, like direct snaps, which it just didn't work. Every time they did it, it didn't work. This was maybe the best one that I saw. And he gets like 4 yards right up the middle. It's just there was more of that than I realized there was last year. So and I don't think with Dak in their quarterback, I don't think they're doing that. So I think his numbers are affected by the offense limitations, by the offensive line injuries. So next one I'm going to show you. This is another example of the offensive line. First and goal. Watch 93. No one blocks him. Like 2 years ago, that's a touchdown. And maybe this year it's a touchdown if they're all healthy again. But, like, never had a chance. So, like, Zeke gets, like, a 3-yard loss on a run, but, like, that's not on Zeke. So, here's an example, again, with him finally getting some room to run. Not like a big run. I think it's like a 8 or 9 yard run. But, But that's what I wanted to see. Like, when he actually has time, and this isn't even Andy Dalton. I forget who the other guy was. Yeah, like, those outside runs, like, that's, like that's good. Like, that's what you want to see from Zeke. So, so there's nothing wrong with that. So, hold on. One more I'll show you. You know, I could go with this, like, all day, but, like, I'll just pause it even before it starts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think there might be a ninth. Oh, yeah, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I forget who came in at quarterback. It wasn't even Andy Dalton. But that fake that Alex Singleton bought earlier, they try that again, and nobody's buying it. Like, nobody cares. Everybody's eyes are on Zeke here, and there's just nowhere to run. So I agree that Tony Pollard. That's why I thought initially Ben DiNucci. I think it was Ben DiNucci. You're right. I completely forgot the name. But yeah, so I went into, like, looking at Zeke, and I actually I was with you. I'm like, Tony Pollard looked awesome. Like, he gave them, like, such a big spark when he was in. He was really impressive. I think I'm probably underselling his projections some. I kind of could, like, I didn't even do, like, an upside and safety with him. Is upside, like, 7? Maybe. But, you know, if Zeke is back to being Zeke, safety is like a 3 or a 4. So, because he just might not get many carries. So, I'm seeing what you're typing. I think it's kind of delayed. So yeah, Ben DiNucci. You said, are you not seeing what I'm typing? Ben DiNucci, so good. Says Ander. Yeah, I am seeing it. I think it is a little bit more delayed than Twitch. Arnav was testing out some of that earlier, asking me questions and telling me when he just heard that my answer, and it was I think it's more delayed than Twitch. Yeah, I think Pollard. It's tough with projections because you could say running backs, like, the situations just change. Yeah, that's true. I should. I know a lot of what I saw with Pollard was, like, getting to the outside, and so, like, he's got that speed where, like, even if they have a lot of guys in the box, like, he can run to the outside. But yeah, if I have some time, I think it would be good. But I just like, for me, like, I saw, like, enough of, like, the potential from Tony Pollard where I was pleasantly surprised with Tony Pollard. I didn't think much of him going into last year. And I saw enough plays where, again, that's why I went into the film kind of thinking, like, I'm probably going to be down on Zeke because I feel like there's just, like, a lot I saw with Tony Pollard where you know, it's sometimes, like, he just looked better than Zeke towards the end of the season. So, so we'll see. Blake Jarwin's back. ACL. I don't know what to think of that. Does Dalton Schultz work in? Do they have... what happens there? Like, I projected, but I don't think he's going to be somebody you're drafting. I don't think you're drafting Dalton Schultz or Blake Jarwin. I maybe at the very, very end. I don't know. Maybe in a deeper league. I kind of doubt it. I think there's a chance they might both take from each other, to be honest. So, no idea what to think there with Jarwin and Schultz in terms of who was actually going to get the time. But if Jarwin's, like, not recovering from the ACL, Schultz becomes interesting. You know, if it's one guy, then they're interesting. If it's both of them, I think you're never going to be able to predict that situation. So that's one that I'm out on. So let's go over to the Giants, Ander. How you feeling about your Giants going into this year? We were talking before the over for the Giants feels like a good one. Daniel Jones is with getting Kenny Galladay. Does Daniel Jones become fantasy relevant? My answer is depends on how deep your league is. So let me pull up his last year's stats. So last year, and he did miss some time, I think, because I think we had Colt McCoy coming in for a couple games. 2,900 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 423 yards rushing and a touchdown. So he's never really been a big touchdown guy, but I think with Kenny Galladay, I think that's going to help a lot. So I have him with 25 touchdowns. I think there's some of that was bad luck. I also think the offense, if Saquon is healthy, will be better. So hopefully the touchdowns are there. Oh my God. Yeah. Daniel Jones 1-1. Yeah. In a New York Giants only league, yeah, I could see that. Although I might go Saquon there, to be honest. Although I guess Daniel Jones will get more points. So you want the only quarterback in the league. So yeah, I can see that. So yeah, again, I have him in for 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. A little bit lower with the rushing. I don't think he's going to break any 70-yard runs against the Eagles, and then fall down on his way to the end zone. But I think the rushing, the rushing is going to be there for Daniel Jones for sure. So, do I think he's better than last year? Yes. Do I think he's suddenly? Yeah. I don't have Kyle Rudolph on the chart. You're right. I wondered whether to even write him down to this point. But honestly, at this point, you're not drafting Kyle Rudolph in fantasy. Even Evan Ingram, I think, is going to be a little shaky to draft in fantasy. So, because I mentioned I was going to show you some things, and I will show you what you were talking about as well, because I got more into the film, and I definitely have some examples of Evan Ingram being the problem, and I have some examples of Daniel Jones being the problem. So I think it was a little bit of both. But yeah, Gallaudet I projected for 14 games at this point. Again, I'm factoring in the injury. So that still puts him at 57 yards, 917, or 57 catches, 917 yards, 6 touchdowns. I have him at upside of 9 and safety of 4. Again, the injuries. And he's been banged up a lot. Maybe you could say 5. I don't know. But he's not safe as a player. Fantasy Pros, I think they have him around. He's even lower than I thought. They have him 24th. So he's going after Tyler Lockett, which I don't think I would take him after Tyler Lockett. Adam Thielen, who I think is going to be underrated again. He's underrated every year. Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans, Robert Woods, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper I was talking about. So, yeah, it's wide receivers deep. So if you want to say, hey, he's not safe to me, I want to gamble on somebody else. I have a feeling he might sneak into my top 20. I think it will be a wide receiver 2 for me. But again, I don't think he's going to get back to where I was. I'm a Kenny Galladay fan. He's not. I don't know that he's going to get back to where he was previously. So you're saying Dander's saying 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He can't get worse. I mean, he can't get worse, but going from 11 touchdowns to 30, that's a big jump. I know he missed a couple games, but that's a big jump. I'm not ready to go there yet. But yeah, Sterling Shepard, there's no upside with Sterling Shepard. That's the kind of guy that, if you have him on your bench, you might be able to throw him in there from week to week and hope he maybe, I don't know, catches a lot of balls. But I have him in for 3 touchdowns, 750 yards. This is in 14 games too. But yeah, he's like a less than 11 yards per catch kind of guy. He's going to be more valuable in PPR than he is in a standard league. But even in PPR, he's fine. But you're not going to win your league because of Sterling Shepard. So it's immediately that good. Amari Cooper, when he went to Dallas. I mean, I guess the other question is how often do top wide receivers like that change teams? I mean, Robbie Anderson wasn't like his level, but Robbie Anderson changed teams and was really good last year. Let's see. Again, Robert Woods, I guess, but like are these top wide receivers, I guess, when they're still in their prime, like really changing teams all that much? So that's a tough one. So, but yeah, I don't really have an answer for that, but I can't really think of like Randy Moss's first year in New England, but I know like I'm not like Daniel Jones is not Tom Brady. Yeah, I think I don't think there's anything wrong with like saying what he's shown, especially with what he's shown in the past, like saying like Kenny Galladay could be a top 20 wide receiver. Like, if you want to say I don't want him because he was hurt last year, then don't take him. But yeah, D-Hop, that's a very good example. Immediately very, very good. T.O. Yeah, so it happens. It happens for sure. So there are examples of it not happening, but Randy Moss to the Raiders. But yeah, so yeah, there is examples, but yeah. So Sterling Shepard again, not somebody I'm all that excited about. I kept last year hearing a lot of people who like really wanted Darius Slayton to be a thing. Darius Slayton almost only gets this high of a projection because I have Kenny Galladay and Sterling Shepard missing some time. Again, he's going to be somebody that's more maybe wide receiver 4 or 5. Somebody that like, yeah, when any of those guys, if Galladay's out, if Shepard's out, if somehow Evan Ingram's missing time, like you could see him sliding up to maybe being like flex starter kind of guy. I guess there's some upside because of the speed there. He's shown flashes, but there are other upside wide receivers, and frankly, a lot safer guys on better that are better. Like he's a 4th or 5th option in that offense, I think. Darius Slayton, not exactly somebody I'm not excited about. Saquon, I mean, that's along with Kenny Galladay's addition. I mean, Saquon's the thing that turns this team, right? Upside 10, safety 5, and even safety of 5. I almost only put him a safety of 5 because he's so talented that when he's out there, he's going to give you everything that you want. So I wrote down Devontae Booker. He's your new handcuff if you want a Saquon handcuff, and with the amount of time that Saquon has missed the last couple of years. I am a Gallaudet apologist, you're right, but I'm not like saying he goes back to being like top 10 guy. I had him like 5th or 6th last year. Like saying I feel like I'm being realistic by saying I'm probably gonna have him like 20th. Yeah, I mean, there's already the reports that like they might take it easy with Saquon and limit his carries early. I don't think that's even a bad thing. I think for a season-long league, you want Saquon. He doesn't need the most carries in the league to be the man. So even at 13-game projection, I have him for 867 yards, 7 touchdowns, 55 catches, 429 yards. 2 touchdowns there, which if we're comparing him to like other top running backs, so the other one I talked about earlier was Zeke. So standard league, I have him per game, I have him like 14 points, whereas I have Zeke at around 14 points. So per game basis, I have Saquon higher. If you want to say Zeke is safer because I feel like I'm more confident that he's going to be healthy. It's kind of where I'm thinking with it, but that one's going to be a toss-up for me, I think. It's like first round, you just don't want to miss. You don't want to miss first round. So as great as Saquon is, I think he's probably going to be a later first round guy for me. But again, I'll know more about my rankings in the next month. But I'm willing at this point. I think I'm willing to say he's a first round pick again. And if some people want to pass on him because of the injuries, and I'm at the end of the first round, he falls to me, I'll take him. And PPR averaging about 18 points per game. Zeke, I have 17. So they're both going to be really, really good PPR options. They're better in PPR than standard. So yeah, Saquon, I think you could maybe even make more of an argument of him above Zeke maybe in PPR. But again, it's kind of a toss-up. And if you want to go with the safer guy in the first round, Zeke might be the one. Evan Ingram. You want to watch some Evan Ingram? I'll try. I have a lot of plays picked out, but I will. Andrew, you're still here, right? I will. I will try to just show a little bit of everything with Evan Ingram. But honestly, like my takeaway with Evan Ingram, watching it is it was part Daniel Jones, and it was part Evan Ingram. Were the problems last year. So there were definitely, as Andrew points out, there were interceptions of Daniel Jones's that were Ingram's fault. There were throws to Evan Ingram that were bad throws, that were off, that became interceptions. Evan Ingram with Saquon back, with adding Gallaudet, with adding Kyle Rudolph, I don't know that he's really going to be somebody that I'm going to be targeting. So I have him in for 650 yards and 3 touchdowns, and that's like a 15-game pace. They also they used him a lot underneath, and there was a lot of like even out of the backfield kind of stuff with him. Looking at Fantasy Pros, Evan Ingram going 14th at tight end, and that probably is about right. He's going right before the new New England guys in Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. That's going to be really interesting to see because with all the guys that they added, they're fun for Fantasy the Show. Jonnu's been that cheat code, but it's really tough of what to make of that situation with the other. I honestly think as far as receivers go, they could be the top 2 wide receivers or receivers on that team yardage-wise or even fantasy points-wise. None of the wide receivers really scare me there. But Higbee he's below Higbee with Gerald Everett gone. He's above Mike Gesicki, or he's below Mike Gesicki. You know, I'm a Gesicki guy. I think that's right. Irv Smith's an interesting one. Kyle Rudolph gone. Is that really enough to put Irv Smith number 11? I don't know that I'm there. I think I'd probably have Ingram, Higbee, and Gesicki higher. I don't know that I'm ready to go there with Irv Smith quite yet. Robert Tanyan, he's 10th right now, and maybe he would be higher if not for the Aaron Rodgers rumors. If Aaron Rodgers is gone, I think I'd take Ingram over Robert Tanyan. So he's probably not a top 12 tight end. So he's somebody that you're maybe drafting at the end. The end of your drafts, as like if you take, if you want to pair him with like a Higbee or somebody like that. If you're taking 2 tight ends and hope one of them just goes off. But I don't know that it's going to be Ingram. We'll see. I mean, he's had some good moments in the past. He's really athletic. But we will see. So, let's see. Got to load all these now, of course. Wanted to go to week 1 really quick and show, I think it was the first one that he had. So this is one that I don't know that is like, this isn't a great example because he falls down. Yeah, Tanyan was really touchdown reliant, and without Aaron Rodgers, I just don't see it. So I think it's right here. It's like a quick throw, he falls down, it's intercepted. So I mean, if you want to blame Ingram for falling down, I guess, but I guess you can. But I mean, the good side of Ingram, I mean, this is like this is why if you're drafting Evan Ingram, like this is why here. I think he's up top here, or in the slot, I should say, on the left side. That nice route, and then immediately up the field. getting that yak. It's like a 22-yard catch. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you want to see from Evan Ingram if you're drafting him. That and touchdowns, obviously. But like, I'll show you an example of one where it's like, this is I think, to me, this is absolutely Daniel Jones. This is him line up at tight end here. And he gets open. It's just a really bad ball. And maybe you might be able to see it as well there. We'll do like the zoomed in one here. Yeah, he had no chance of that. And it's a good route. And that's on Daniel Jones. They also use they use him out of the backfield a lot, and I don't know how much they do that with Saquon back. So 11:51. Yeah, this one goes for 16 yards, and yeah, so so like he's blocking that wasn't out of the backfield, but I think that's a good example again of the yak. It's like a really quick pass. Yeah, it's the touchdown is what I wanted to show you. Like, I don't know how much they're really going to do stuff like this. Like, he gets a touchdown here, but like with Saquon's back, like are you running these kinds of plays where lines up as tight end? But I mean, that's the athleticism. Like, again, the speed to like beat the guy. I know it's like a defensive lineman, but he beats him to the outside, gets the touchdown there. So. Should just a few more. 11:26, and this is like this is what you want to see from Daniel Jones and from Evan Ingram. I think he's at the bottom, or no, I think he's up top. This is against my Eagles, of course. Actually, you know he's up top because another thing I'm realizing with Daniel Jones, he looks at the first man and stares at them every single time. All right, here's what I want to show you. This is one that's on. This is on Daniel Jones. He's coming here. Never should throw this ball. And, like, it should have been an interception. And maybe, I don't know, Evan Ingram's not open. It's a really good job by the linebacker. But, like, that should have been an interception. If you throw that more outside, maybe you can get a completion there. But yeah, here's an example you're talking about. Ander. Like, this is terrible. I think he's in the slot here. Yeah. It bobbles it up, like, touches it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, this is a better angle. Like, just drop it, dude. you can't. That's really bad. You can't do that. And here's another bad drop. And I could show you a couple more of that. There were a couple more like that. Yeah, I think he's in the middle here. Like, you can't drop that. So, I think it's Daniel Jones, and I think it's Evan Ingram. But either way, I don't know that either of them is like. He's still Evan Ingram, and Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones. So, to me, Evan Ingram's just not going to be like a top 10 tight end that I'm targeting. I don't know that I'm counting on the bounce back, especially with Kenny Gallaudet there. I think if Galladay's healthy, he leads the team in targets. So, And then you still got the other wide receivers there. We'll see if Kadarius Toney works in, but yeah. So last, I'm going to do my Eagles. Again, I almost didn't even do this because I wasn't quite ready to talk about Washington yet. So this is NFC East minus Washington. Jalen Hurts. I might show a little bit of him, just tiny, like just a few plays. I think you know what you're getting from Jalen Hurts, but I have him in for 14 games, which is part like he rushes so much that there's a chance he'd get hurt. There's part he had a lot of bad moments, and does he play poorly enough that he gets benched? So to like account for a lot of that, I put him in for 14 games just to kind of be like, okay, you know, let me not, maybe I won't do quite that like 17 game pace, but upside I have a 10. He could rush for 1,000 yards. I don't think that's crazy. He rushed for 350 about last year, and he started 5 games. You project that over 17 games, and that's well over 1,000. If he rushes for over 1,000 yards, he's you know, top 2, top 3 fantasy quarterback, even if he's not throwing a lot. It's what happened with Lamar 2 years ago. It's possible. It's absolute upside is a 10. And I have safety at 8 because even if he plays poorly, he's going to put up one of the top rushing yards in the NFL for quarterbacks. To me, when he plays, he's going to be super safe. You look at the points he put up last year. Again, Fantasy Pros has him, I think, at 9th quarterbacks right now. I mentioned I cut off my list earlier at Justin Herbert at 8th, and they have Jalen Hurts at 9. I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. I might take Jalen Hurts over Russell Wilson. I'll have to look at that. If they get Julio, that's a different story. I might take him over Justin Herbert. Right after him, they have Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow. I'm taking Hurts over all of them, I think. I think Jalen Hurts is set up. You know, the rushing in it's maybe a flaw in fantasy football. Yeah, they had no tape on it. I get it, and that's why again I have him in for 700 in 14 games. But I mean, I could look at. Let me remind myself. So, I don't know how much, like, maybe they don't have, like, a full season of tape, but Week 16 against Dallas, he had started 3 games. Started 3 games at that point. He came into the Green Bay. That was so. I'm sorry. He had started 2 games. He came in during the Green Bay game, so he had played in a second half. So like 2.5 games he had played. 9 rushes, 69 yards. Plays 1 half against Washington, 34 rushing yards. I only had him at like 50 a game averaging. So he had 100 yards against New Orleans. You can. I think tape. I think there is to that, to learning how to stop a guy. The more you see of him, but you know, I think he does have that athletic ability that's going to be hard to. And I don't think he is as good. I think if he's as good, he's the number 1 quarterback, and I don't think he's going to be that. But I think he's set up to have a really good year from a fantasy perspective because of the rushing. And maybe it's not fair. But I mean, that's fantasy. I mean, quarterbacks are getting, you know, they get a boost when they're when they get a lot of rushing yards, because it's 10 yards for a point in rushing and it's 20 yards for a point passing. Some leagues 25. So the rushing is king. I am at 700 in 14 games again, and maybe it could be less. That's like an 850 yard pace for 17 game season. We'll see. So let me go back to here. So I won't show you a ton. I think you know what you're getting from Jalen Hurts to a certain extent, but Jalen Hurts, again, from a passing, he would be higher if he was better from a passing perspective, but he was far from perfect. Where did I skip week 15? I did. This, I think, is his first attempt in this game. And you're just going to see he ends up holding the ball way too long. And it ends up being an incompletion. Like, he has the guy earlier than that. And if you see the full field up here, like, he's not throwing it, finally then does, but it's way too high too. So it's incomplete and he waits too long. But he had some really nice moments too. Let's go to the ghost of Alshon Jeffrey, who, this drove me nuts. The fact that Alshon Jeffrey had some good moments with Jalen Hurts and couldn't manage to do it with Carson Wentz. I'm not guilty, or I'm not mad at all. But that's a good touch pass. Good timing on that. 14, 16. I'll show you an example of another bad pass where this one I think could have been. This could have been a touchdown to Jalen Reagar, but it's a little underthrown. I think Reagar is one of these guys here. So here he is here. And he has to stop a little bit. And it's a little underthrown. And Patrick Peterson's able to get a hand in there. So I don't need to show you a lot of the rushing. You know that he can run the ball. You don't need me to tell you that, but here's one to Ertz, where Ertz actually got open. I think this is Ertz here. Actually, yeah, this is really bad. Ertz is actually on the side, but you might not even be able to tell now at this point. But like, just he's open. It's just way off. But like, this was week 15, so they had not a lot of tape on him by this point, but I'm going to show you a fourth down play where this is just like, you can have tape on a guy, but just like to show you the athleticism, like 4th and 6. And he ends up getting 17 yards. It's really hard to account for that, and I know you can do like spy. There are things you can scheme up, but a couple more like things that I found encouraging from him. This is another one that drove me nuts, because Desean Jackson, week 16. Desean can't freaking stay healthy all year. And look at that. Nice deep ball. Hit him on a line. Didn't have to slow down. Desean Jackson goes for 81 yards. Of course, he does his classic run along the end zone. But there was another one to Alshon I'll just show, and that'll be it. Oh no, this is I think this is it. Or no, I showed this one already. I want to show week 16. I can't find it, but you get the point. He actually has some. He threw a lot of deep balls. He was inaccurate because he threw a lot of deep balls, but he's got a pretty good arm. He connected on a good amount of those deep balls, but because he threw so many, he only had like a 52% completion rate. So there is definitely some room to grow, but I think because of he really struggled throwing the ball. It wouldn't surprise me if, even though it's only Joe Flacco behind him, there's like, you don't need to see what you can get from Joe Flacco. Like, you know what you're getting from Joe Flacco. Wouldn't be surprised if there is a point where Jalen Hurts gets benched. Also, wouldn't be surprised if, again, I have upside of 10 for Jalen Hurts from a fantasy perspective. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's takes a big step forward this year. So I think having Davonte Smith will help a lot because of the other thing, and having a healthy offensive line, much like what happened with Dallas last year. I think that will help. Speaking of Davonte Smith, I have him in for 63 catches, 870 yards, 5 touchdowns. I think that puts him in line to be a wide receiver 4, flex type guy. Upside 8 because I think in this offense, again, I think there are a lot of limitations with Jalen Hurts. So I think, coming in as a rookie, we'll see how well he does. I just I want him to be really good. We'll see what happens. But rookie year, I have him at an 8 upside, which I think, as far as rookies go, I think that's pretty high. Safety, I have him as 6. You could argue even lower, but I think the state of the wide receivers for the Eagles is so bad that I think he's almost going to have no choice but to be solid. Solid enough for you to start. Depends on the week, probably. I don't know that he's going to be a consistent every week play, but hey, there were a lot of rookie wide receivers last year that ended up doing that, so I think he has the potential. We'll see what happens. So, Jalen Reagar I'm going to revisit, but as of right now, he's not somebody I'm going to look at all. Again, because of Jalen Hurts' deep ball, Desean Jackson is gone. Alshon's gone. Some of those deep balls that I was showing to them, if they can go to Reagar, if Jalen Hurts is on target, Reagar is the type of guy who can capitalize on that. So I have him for a 15-game pace at 558 yards. He had like 300 last year. I think he could take a step forward this year. I have him as an upside 7, but safety is like a 4, and honestly, I think you could make an argument that's even lower. He is somebody that maybe at the very end of the draft you could just it's a dart, throw a dart. Hope that he pops in the second year. I think he shows some potential, but I also don't think he's a great route runner. He doesn't seem to read the ball very well when it's in the air on these deep balls. So he's got the speed, but is he like? You need more than speed to be a good deep wide receiver. So, Miles Sanders. Oh man. He's a home run hitter. I think he'll be a running back too. But most of his touchdowns, most of his value for fantasy last year came on just big plays. He's got the speed to hit those home runs, but if he doesn't, you're screwed. He's not like a 5-yard run, 6-yard run, 7-yard run consistent guy. Part of that was the offensive line last year, but his running style, that's what he tries to do. He tries to cut the ball outside a lot. He tries to find those holes to the outside so that he can hit those home runs. And he can't always do it. I worry that having a rushing quarterback will hurt his touchdown upside, rushing wise. Look at what happened with the Buffalo running backs. Look what happened with any of the running backs in New England. Kenyon Drake. There's plenty of examples with rushing quarterbacks who end up sort of being the option at the goal line. Now, Jalen Hurts isn't like a bigger guy, but I could have showed you some plays where he's down at the goal line. He is trying to run people over. And that's the stuff that does worry me, and that's why I thought there is a chance he can get hurt this year running the ball so much. But the other thing with Miles Sanders is he took a big step backwards in terms of receiving. The Eagles then draft Kenny Gainwell. They bring in Kerryon Johnson. They seem to be bringing in guys who are better at pass blocking and at catching the ball. It seems to be a direct challenge almost. Saying, hey, Miles, if you can't do it, we're going to have somebody else who can. So I project him at 32 yards, or 32 catches, 272 yards and 1 touchdown, which is probably below average for what you're going to get for a good wide receiver, or for a good running back. So, to me, he's probably going to be outside my top 15 of running backs. I like him. I thought he showed more potential in his first year in the receiving game. I thought that would really help him in PPR leagues, and I still have him as an upside of 9, safety of 8, because I don't know that, like, I think as far as rushing goes, he's going to get all the carries. Kel, what's up, man? Yeah, I mean, I think they will be more run heavy if you count in Jalen Hurts' attempts. But I don't know that Miles Sanders is all of a sudden get a ton more carries because of Jalen Hurts. We'll see. It's new coaching staff. Coming over from the Colts. It's hard to say, like, just because of last year what they did. They went back and forth, actually. I think early in the year, actually, they were surprisingly pass heavy and then were run heavy later with Jonathan Taylor. Miles Sanders just isn't like a Jonathan Taylor type runner, but how much it was, how much did they go run heavy because of Jonathan Taylor, because the limitations of Phillip Rivers? We'll see. So yeah, I do have him as an upside of 9 out of 10, but safety of 8 out of 10 because I think he's going to be the main guy from a rushing perspective. But we'll see how much Gainwell. Gainwell is somebody that I think people aren't going to talk about a lot. Whereas past few years, like with Darren Sproles, like just coming in. I know it's been a little bit now, but just having watched this closely, Darren Sproles would end up just ruining things for who you thought was going to be the fantasy running back for the Eagles. I think Kenny Gainwell in a lot of ways is similar to Darren Sproles, maybe not as quick, but a smaller guy that's going to be used primarily in the pass game. Speaking of like the Colts, I think he could have a real Nyheim Hines type role. I really do. So I think by the end of the season, there's a chance in PPR you're like playing him maybe as your flex because he's catching so many balls. Because honestly, like, you got Davonte Smith, who's a rookie. Jalen Reagar, Fulgham, Greg Ward. Dallas Goddard, I think, is going to have a solid year. I'll get to him in a second, but I think there is some upside there with Kenny Gainwell. If Miles Sanders gets hurt, he's never going to be the guy, I don't think, to like carry the ball 12 to 15 times a game, but maybe like 8 times and like 5 catches. We'll see. So, Dallas Goddard, again, he's the last one I talked about. He'll be a top 10 tight end. Zach Ertz is still on the team. I don't know how much longer that's going to happen. But I think he'll be solid. Last year, let's see, how many games did Dallas Goddard play? He had 524 yards last year, and I think it was like 11 or 12 games that he played. He missed 5 games. Yeah, 11 games. So, without Zach Ertz there, and Zach Ertz missed some time too, but 500 yards in 11 games, I think, that puts you closer to what I have here. That 770 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think that's really, those are really solid numbers for tight end. So, I think he's somebody I've gone back and forth actually with, even with if Julio stays in Atlanta, which I don't know that he will now. I was thinking even like just Kyle Pitts is like the number 6 tight end right now, and I know he's like awesome. I know he's like not even really like a tight end. He's like a wide receiver. But it's right now. He's going before Dallas Goddard, Noah Fant, Logan Thomas. If there's no Julio, I think it's more reasonable. If Julio's there, I think I'm going Dallas Goddard. I'm torn on Noah Fant, but either way, I don't know how early those guys are going to go, and I might just say, rather than Kyle Pitts where he's going, I might wait like 4 or 5 more rounds and get Logan Thomas, get Mike Gesicki, Tyler Higbee. We talked about Evan Ingram earlier, who I think should be outside the top 10, top 12, but anyway, I think Dallas Goddard has the upside to be a top 5 tight end. I think he's relatively safe as long as he stays healthy. So again, I wasn't quite ready to talk about Washington tonight. I did run out of time. If you got any Washington questions, I'm going to be watching a lot of Antonio Gibson, but it's going to be really interesting to see what Fitz does. Fitz was, in a lot of ways better than Tua last year. They had Curtis Samuel too to that offense. Obviously, Alex Smith is gone. Ryan Fitzpatrick should be the guy. He's far from a guarantee. I think there are going to be bye weeks where you're thinking about playing Ryan Fitzpatrick. If you lose your quarterback to an injury, I think you might be looking at maybe picking up Ryan Fitzpatrick. The offensive line is not that good. That is going to be the other thing that really hurts them. And I'm a big Terry McLaurin guy. I think his upside now with having, you look at the numbers he put up with Dwayne Haskins, with Alex Smith, with who else did they have last year? God, I can't even think of some of the other guys that they've had. Point is, Terry McLaurin has put up really good numbers with bad quarterbacks. This Ryan Fitzpatrick will be the best quarterback he's had yet. I think he could definitely be a top 10 wide receiver. I think he's relatively safe as well. Curtis Samuel, I don't know that he's really going to take away too much from Terry McLaurin. Logan Thomas should be solid. We'll see if J.D. McKissick gets back to catching like 70 balls again, whatever it was that he caught last year. But I'll look at that a little more closely next week, along with probably the NFC North. I kind of want to weigh in the NFC North because of Aaron Rodgers. Maybe we'll go NFC South, or maybe we'll just go AFC East. We'll go East, both Easts. So I'll let you guys know. But anyway, if you got any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, this is about as long as I wanted to go with this stream. This is kind of a test run for me on YouTube. Try to see if I can start reaching some different people. By the way, is this time better? Like around like 7 o'clock? Is this better? Like, would you prefer this over, say a like 1 o'clock afternoon, like borderline around the time when Fantasy the Show would be on? Because I'm playing around with both. I think I might do some afternoons and see how that goes, but we'll check that out. But appreciate all you guys stopping by again. If you have any other questions, NFC East or otherwise, again, I've only gotten so far. I'll be talking more closely about rankings and stuff as the summer goes on. I think in about a month, I'll have sort of a first round of rankings. But I usually go with a deep dive into each team myself personally before I do my rankings. So that's what I'm doing here on streams as well. So talking big picture stuff. So then we can really get into talking about who I maybe would draft in certain situations, one guy over another. So, but I think that's about all I got for this stream. So again, appreciate everyone who stopped by for giving me those subs. I know No gave me the sub. If you guys haven't already, takes a second. Click that sub button. It's basically like the follow button for Twitch. Really help me out. We really appreciate it. So I'm gonna be getting my Instagram up and going. I already have it's set up, but I haven't really been using it yet. But I'll be doing some Instagram stuff too, and I'll shout that out when that's ready to go. But again, appreciate you guys stopping in. Maybe I probably will do AFC East next week, so we'll look at AFC East. Patriots, Jets, Bills. Patriots, Jets, Bills, Dolphins, and we're getting to all of them. Talk about how I feel about them for fantasy, and just general outlook on that AFC East. So again, appreciate you guys stopping by, and anybody who's here from Fantasy Show. I will be on the road actually tomorrow, so I won't really be able to stop by. But good luck tomorrow in the contests, and I'll probably talk to you guys again on during